So what I do is tie something very different and very powerful. I'm a mindfulness coach. So you will agree with me, there are two worlds, the inner and outer worlds for human being.
Sure.
The outer world is the world outside, the world that you can see, the world where there is work, there's building, we have relationships, the outside world, the tangible world. But there is also the inner world of our minds, of our thoughts, of our emotions. I coach about this inner world. You will now agree with me that we all face times when we feel a sort of longingness to connect with something higher, a sort of loneliness. We are looking for a purpose in our lives, just feeling lost at times. These are always accompanied by signs which feels like anxiety. Sometimes it comes out as sadness. Sometimes it's just too lonely. The reason why we face that is because as a human being, it is our soul's longing to connect with something which is higher than ourselves. We have to connect with our own higher selves, we have to connect with our own minds. And the way to do it is meditation.
Mm.
That's what meditation does. Meditation connects you with your inner world. The second thing that I've observed is that as human beings, we will all go through problems. You would agree with me.
Sure.
We will have
Challenges.
problems and challenges, maybe through health, maybe in our wealth department, maybe in our relationships, and something keeps coming. And when that happens, there's something very interesting that I've observed. When that happens, people mostly resist the problem. They worry
Mm.
a lot about the problem. They also think that there is no solution or it's permanent. They feel powerless. They feel hassled. And that is something that's the wrong way of thinking because that keeps you stuck in that place for a longer time. When you meditate, when you connect with your own higher self, you get the wisdom to think the right thoughts, to channelize your energy in the direction which not only makes you very happy in the now, the way it is, it also makes you very powerful being in the sense that whatever you desire starts happening, which we call as conscious manifestation. It is a byproduct of happiness that and the life state that you're already in and how that life state has changed. And that is something that I teach people, the power of their own mind.
Let's break it down a little bit further. When you talk about this idea of the higher self, what are you referring to, or how would you put that in your own words?
Higher self can be anything which is, some people can call it God, some people would call it universe, and Buddhists would call it the higher self. It is a power that you cannot see, but you feel it when you meditate, something which is beyond yourself. And we have to connect to that. The more we connect to that, that's when anxiety goes away. We start living in peace and happiness. That's when we have faith, we have confidence in our own selves. We believe life will work for us, and that's when positive thinking comes into play. Until that, we will be anxious, we will be worried, we will not be able to find answers for our own selves.
Right. And this idea of active manifestation and meditation, connecting to the higher self or one's purpose, technique wise, what would you recommend to anybody out there who wants to do this or wants to try it?
So, what happens if somebody wants to be very happy? The first step that I would tell that person is be here now. Now, what do I mean by that? Being in the now. What does that really mean? We hear a lot about it. The book Power of Now talks about it, and it's a very common thing, mindfulness, be here now. But what exactly, Ty, does that mean? Let me break it down for you. Imagine you're washing hands. Mostly when you're washing hands, you're thinking about something else. Maybe you're going for lunch, and that's when you're thinking about what will I order, what will I eat, what will my friends say, what will I reply. But let's just take a step back and go back to the activity of washing hands. When you wash hands, feel the water on your hands. Feel the fragrance of soap and just feel how you're rubbing your hands and let it wash away. This activity, for which will take 20 seconds, you will be here and now, maybe just for 5 seconds, but that is enough. That is enough. And you have to consciously come into the here and now. Another great activity is walking down the stairs. Just make a conscious effort that whenever I'm doing up and down the stairs, only for that time, I will be here and now. Observe your steps. Observe what's around you. Do you smell anything? Anybody else who's around you? Is it a concrete stair? Is it a wooden stair? What does the railing look like? How are the walls? Be here now. So you break down your life into only being here and now. It comes with practice, but that is the only way out, and that's the way to happiness.
So, what are some ways that people can do that with their conscious voice in their head, directing it in a specific way? How can they practice?
The easiest way to practice is the first step, which is you cannot control the voice in your head. You can only become aware of it. But how do we become aware of it? Not many books teach you that. There is one book which talks about it, which is in The Secret, and it says, you cannot listen to every thought that you have. You become aware of the feelings. That is the biggest catch. If you start thinking that I will take care of my every single thought and I will start weighing it and I'll try to find out which are good thoughts, which are bad thoughts, you will be defeated because you will be so stressed out just observing them. We get more than 6,000 thoughts in a day. The trick is not to look at the thoughts. Simple step, observe your emotion. Observe your emotion. Am I feeling good? Am I feeling peaceful? If yes, you are okay, you are on the good track. But if you are feeling fearful, if you are feeling sad, that's when you realize something in your thoughts is not right. So what do we do in that case? Simple strategy. Snap out. Come back to the now. Just like I explained, come back to the now. Give 100% to the activity that you're doing. If you are having tea, enjoy that tea. What does that tea smell like? What does it taste like? Are you sitting outside? What flowers are there? Is there any squirrels? What is happening in the garden? What are they doing? Just breaking your thought and coming back to the now. And your emotions will be your GPS.
Have you had any experience with breath work at all? That's, at least in my daily life, a good way to just stay centered is to concentrate on that flow of energy in and out through breathing. Do you have any comment on that?
Our breaths are very powerful. Breath is not just taking in air. When we breathe, we also taking the energy of the environment, the energy of the universe with it. And to take that energy, we have to breathe consciously. And when we breathe in, just breathe out, breathe in, observe your breath. Your breath should go to the stomach. The breath has to be slow and deep. Most of the time, whenever we're feeling anxious, when we are feeling not good, our breath is very shallow. We just breathe. It's very shallow. It is very fast. But if you want to use your breath work, and it's a great question, Tide, you said. Breath is a great way to flip your emotions. When you start consciously breathing slow and deep, you release the negative emotions. Unknowingly, you're releasing the negative emotions. Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling fearful? Lower your breath. Take a deep breath. Take few deep breaths. You release emotions. Many people don't know that emotions can be released. And the way to release them is breath and conscious breathing, deep breathing, low breathing.
So combining that with this concept of the chakras, which I hope that you could speak on a little bit, as I feel like that's a tough one to kind of put into terms that everybody could understand. But could you take a stab at it with what this idea is?
I don't know much about chakra balancing. That's something that I don't do. I do mindfulness. I go deep into your every single thought, and I train your mind to think in a direction which gives you happiness. Chakra balancing is energy work which happens through breath, the technique I just shared. It happens on its own. But that's
So,
not my strong point, so I don't want to comment on it.
so the concept, as I understand it, is there are different energy centers throughout the body, traveling up and down the spine, and that by through meditation and closing your eyes and focusing on these different areas of the body, like the one that is often talked about the most is the third eye and then the
Third eye.
crown. Yeah, but by balancing your conscious attention into those areas of the body, you can gain different insights. So I just find that super fascinating.
The type of meditation you're talking about is the third eye meditation. In this, you focus on the third eye and you focus on your breath at the same time. Feel the energy which is entering through your third eye and is going down till your stomach, to the chakra down. And then you release it through your breath. Meditation is of various types. One type of meditation is this chakra meditation. Mantra is another type of meditation which is very powerful. Another meditation is the visualization meditation. Breathwork is another type of meditation. So there are various types of meditation. I would invite people to try various meditations and find what's best for them. What may work for you may not work for me. I enjoy mantra meditation. I enjoy visualization meditations. The meditation, like they say, the wand chooses the master. The meditation chooses you. For that, you have to try the various meditations. And this is something for people to try. Try various meditations. And whatever works for you. Everything is powerful.
What are some of the practices that you use in your daily life to keep yourself mentally healthy in that way?
First of all, I'm aware of my every single thought. This is because of my 20 years of practice. I learned everything because of mantra meditation. So I do mantra meditation. I also do white light meditation, which is a visualization meditation. It is a very powerful meditation. In this kind of meditation, you visualize yourself sitting in the most beautiful garden that you can be. And imagine a white light entering through your head to the third eye and going inside your body. As you keep doing that, you also feel that you're releasing negative energies, letting go of energies of past traumas, letting go of sadness, letting go of anxiety. This is another technique that I use a lot. And the last one, and the most powerful that I do all the time, at least I try to do all the time, is be here now. And when I'm doing that, I also go sometimes one step ahead, which is something which I want people to really hear it out. That if they really want to be happy, no matter what is going on in their life, they can be here now and bless everyone. A simple way to practice it is, let's say you're going to buy your grocery. Let's say you're going to Trader's Joe to pick stuff. When you enter, just be in the now. Observe the people around you. Observe what you're picking. What is the fruit? What kind of fruit you're picking? What vegetables you're picking? And very silently, may God bless everyone here. This little prayer that you do, which is a blessing for everyone, will increase not only your energy, it will increase your happiness quotient. It will change your thoughts. When you go into your office, step back, be here now, and just say, whoever it is here, may they be happy. May they be successful. If you are a college student and you're entering your college, you're going through that worry and anxiety of the day would look like. Step back, take a deep breath, be here now, and just say, I bless every student, I bless every teacher, may everyone be happy. Very slowly, as you make this a practice, not only you become happier, you also start attracting good things in your life. The attitude of people will change towards you. You'll be very surprised. People who were not good to you, people who were mean to you, their attitude will start changing. And this is the key to happiness.
So it sounds like with the mantra meditation, you're tying in with the concept of the subconscious mind. How important is that? And how do you think it works in your own terms? This mantra meditation and its effect on the subconscious and our beliefs about ourselves.
I would like to go back 20 years, if you allow me to share my story.
Please.
I had finished my engineering, it was the year of 2004. Although the world was full of opportunities, but for me, Tai, it was always a feeling of something missing, something that I'm not enough, a sense of loneliness. I was also a warrior by nature. I decided to step back and find answers to some questions. Questions like, why are some people successful? Why are some not? Why are some people full of confidence and faith, and some are full of worry and they don't believe in themselves? And does it matter? Does this attitude matter, or is my destiny fixed? Can we change our destiny? Those were the big questions I had. Why do some people have a great wedding while some people just have failed relationships all the time? Can we change our destiny? Having nothing else to turn to, I turned to mantra meditation. As I started doing meditation, as I started chanting all mantras, I would like to tell everyone that what happens when you meditate? To begin with, nothing happens. Nothing happens. You will not feel anything different. When you will finish your meditation, you might just feel just the way you were. But please stay at it. Stay with it. It is a slow process. After 1 month, after 2 months, something magical started happening. I became aware of the power that we as human beings are already having inside ourselves. It is the power in our thoughts. I learned how my thoughts had created my destiny. My life was opening up like a jigsaw puzzle. I knew why I had failed in a particular test, why I had attracted the wrong type of people in my life, why I had been happy and successful in a particular stage of my life, and why I had not been. My life was opening like a jigsaw puzzle. That's how my thoughts were creating my destiny. As I continued my mantra meditation, I became aware of the beliefs that were holding me. The most common belief that most of the people have that can sabotage all their happiness is, I am not enough. Would you agree with me that all of us have this feeling, something about me is not enough? Somebody has better car, somebody has better house, somebody has better relationships, so I'm not enough. And that one belief is enough to sabotage everything in our lives. As I became of this belief, all the belief systems, I also learned through mantra meditation how to change those beliefs. This is where affirmations come into play. This is where telling yourself the good stories come into play. After a few days, my meditations, as I continued meditating, my subconscious mind also showed me what is conscious manifestation. I learned that how we can consciously think in a particular direction and leave that thought to manifest whatever we desire. I learned to live in the now, and I became much happier, less worrier, and more happier. And this is what meditation does.
How deep do you think that goes as far as the power of the mind, the power of thoughts and manifestation? Do you think that we as humans can literally manifest into the physical realm anything? Or do you think that some of our destiny is more fixed?
That's a very good question. We cannot avoid problems. So I would say that part is the fixed part. That if I'm meant to attract something negative, I will. For example, let's say somebody gets fired from the job, and it happened to somebody that I was coaching. Somebody gets fired from a job, maybe for no fault of his, looks like. That is something that was maybe meant to happen. But now the next step is that's where you have all the control. Future is not fixed. It is a system of probability, and that's where your thoughts come into play. That's where you change it. When something negative happens, you don't, if you're resisting it, if you're blaming yourself, if you're blaming others, if you're filled with blame, shame, guilt, anger, you're attracting more of it. You will stay stuck in that situation for a longer time. So what do? You become aware of your own mind. You accept the situation. You learn how could I have been better? What actions could I have taken? How could I have been better at talking to people? Or what is there for me to learn? Maybe sometimes there is nothing to learn, and that is also fine. Maybe you need to learn to forgive people. You learn about your ego. You learn to bless others. You learn not to be a warrior. You learn to surrender. And when you do that, you manifest the next job, which is exactly what you always wanted. The kind of package you wanted, the kind of people you want to be, and what kind of work you want to do. All those things manifest after that.
I think we're always right where we need to be, if that makes any sense. And these things that you're talking about, challenges, hardships, I think they're lessons in disguise. And like you're saying, it's up to us to use our thoughts to see every situation in a positive light and see the divine in that situation.
I totally agree with you, Ty, that we are always meant to be where we are. And that's what's called acceptance. Let's go back to the example of the person who lost his job. For him, the resistance is, why me? Why did it happen to me? Others, it didn't happen to my friend, it didn't happen to something else. But that's where acceptance is, that this is how it was always meant to be. And that should give a lot of peace to us in order to close the chapters that have no relevance anymore.
Yeah, that it's not some mistake. And
Yes.
I've often found in my life that I won't understand a situation as it's happening. But then if I reflect and look back 2 to 3 years in the past, I'll understand why X had to happen so that Y in my life now could occur and that I could learn that lesson.
And lesson is a beautiful word that you used, because do you know why we face problems as human beings?
Why?
In order to learn the lessons. And when we learn the lessons, what do we learn? We learn about our own power. So everything is interconnected. Somebody may call it spirituality. Somebody may call it awakened mind. Somebody may call it mindfulness, but they're all connected. And the lessons, what are those lessons that we are talking about? You will learn about acceptance. You will learn about forgiveness. You will learn about forgiving your own self, which is very important and the hardest for people to do. You will learn not to be judgmental towards others, which we always are. To let go of our envy, to let go of our jealousy. These are the lessons that we will learn. And the most difficult lesson is to be living in the now and learning to surrender. There are few things that will be always out of your control. Rather than worrying about them, you learn to surrender them to a higher power, which you don't know what it is.
You're talking about the interconnectedness of all things. And there's some people who believe that there's an invisible energy field that's coming off of each person and that our energies are interacting constantly with other people's. What do you think about that?
We are all connected beings, Ty. You're very right when we say that we are all, there's an energy field that connects us. Ask yourselves, has it ever happened to you that you thought something for your friend to happen? May he get a very good job, may he be very happy. And you realize that it is manifesting in your own life. And same is true for a very negative thing. Sometimes you wish ill for somebody else. And you realize it did not touch them, but it manifested in your own life. Another very powerful thought is the thought about being envious towards others. Unknowingly, we become envious of somebody's success, somebody's wealth, somebody's health, somebody's good relationships. And do you know what happens when we do that? We don't attract that. Being envious to others simply means you're telling your subconscious mind, I don't want this. I don't want this kind of health. I don't want this kind of life. I don't want this kind of happiness. And all this, if you connect all the dots, you will realize you are the thinker of only your universe. And the thoughts that you have are your thoughts. And those thoughts will manifest only in your life. This is the interconnectedness. That is exactly why I said, be here now and bless everyone. Think good thoughts about everyone. Because when you're blessing somebody else, you're actually blessing your own self.
What do you think about life after death? We're kind of talking about consciousness, and it makes me think, where does that go upon death, and just what all that is? What do you think?
It is an interesting question. In Hinduism, we believe in reincarnation, where the concept is that you're born again. But it makes so much sense to me. Sometimes, as a mother, many mothers would relate that you have two children, but they're so different from each other. They're raising in the same environment. One may be full of anxiety, other one is full of confidence. Where is that coming from? It has to be something about the past, something that had happened in the last lifetime that connects. Why is somebody born poor? Why is somebody born rich? Why somebody has more intelligence? Why somebody does not? Why somebody more beautiful? Why somebody, as society calls it, not so attractive? And this all relates to past lifetime. This is how Hinduism would explain it. That this is how you must have done some karmas which have come back in a good and a bad way. So what is life after death? Life after death is nothing. You're just born again. You never die. You're never meant to die. We're energy beings. We will come back. We will come back to learn the lessons we have not learned in this lifetime. There's a very beautiful book that if anybody is curious to read is by Dr. Brian Weiss, Many Lives, Many Masters, and another book, Only Love is Real. It talks beautifully about what happens after you die. And it beautifully talks about all the lessons the soul is supposed to learn in this lifetime. And if it does not, how it learns in the next lifetime.
For a more Western or American audience, were you raised in Hinduism?
Yes, I was raised in India in Hinduism, and now I live in New York. And
Okay.
that's where I teach mindfulness.
Great. So you'd be an excellent person to comment on this. Would you mind just breaking down the basic tenets of Hinduism for a Western listener or an American listener who maybe has never even heard of it before?
Hinduism, they say, is a religion, but it's actually a life philosophy. In Hinduism, we believe in many, many gods. There are not one God, there are many gods. But the energy is same, and we give it different names. We can call it Shiva, we call it Vishnu, we can call it a Mata, we can call it by many names, but there is only one God. Hinduism believes in the theory of reincarnation, that we are born again, and there's a philosophy of karma. Karma is very misunderstood in America. That's what I have realized, and it's very interesting. We mostly view karma as something very negative. But karma is not negative. Karma simply means causes. It means you have created some causes which are giving you some effects. So we believe in the idea of cause and effect. Everything that's happening in your life, you have created some causes. And now this is the effect, which is beautiful in a way, because all the good things that you have in your life, the abundance that you have, if you're in a safe environment, if you're fortunate to be in a house, if you have food on the table, if you don't have anybody threatening you right now, those are your good karmas. And that's what Hinduism talks a lot about. And karmas I discovered can be changed through thoughts, through mindfulness, through meditation. And in Buddhism, in Hinduism, we talk of mantra meditation. We learn lots of mantras like Om Namah Shivaya. Om is a mantra in itself. And when you do those mantras, you're basically changing your energies, you're changing your karmas, you're changing your destiny. And mantras are not some random words, they're very powerful words. Sound is a form of energy. And energy can neither be created nor it can be destroyed. And when you do sound energy, when you chant a mantra, you have created an energy, and that energy is now going to take some form. And the form is going to be what your energy or frequency is. Are you in a state of happiness? You will attract happy things. So a mantra only changes one form of energy to the other, from nothing to everything. That's what mantra does. And that's what Hinduism would teach you.
I wanted to ask you, from the lens of the religion that you were raised in, this cycle of reincarnation, is the goal to achieve the last cycle of that and then transcend? And what does that look like?
Sai, that's a very religious question. In Hinduism, we do believe in moksha, which is that you will never be born again. But do I personally believe in it? I don't know. I don't know if it ever ends. I'm not a very strongly religious person. I'm a spiritual person. I'm a mindfulness person. I'm a person who believes in making my life and life of people here and now better. And how can we do that? Especially when we are going through stresses, especially when we're going through problems, especially when my own mind is telling me stories which are not true, especially when I'm anxious. So for me, this here and now is more important.
Sure.
And definitely, according to Hinduism, moksha is the final. But I feel living a happy life now is moksha. Being at peace now is moksha. Living a comfortable life in the tendency of subconscious mind, like the book Power of Subconscious Mind talks about, that the tendency of subconscious mind is towards health, wealth, and happiness. If we as human beings can live in that tendency, that's moksha to me. That's happiness to me. What may happen tomorrow, I don't know. And it's not important.
That's an excellent book that you just brought up. And that I count as one of the pivotal moments in my life was when I read that book cover to cover, because it gave me such an understanding of the subconscious mind that I didn't have before that. And it just changes the lens through which you view the world.
Chai, for me, that book is the Bible for me. It is a book I go back to. The course that I coach, Power of Your Mind, it has 12 sessions. I have learned a lot from this book called Power of Subconscious Mind. It has broken down the concepts so easily and so well. It talks so beautifully about forgiveness, that how when you keep thinking one particular thought, you're simply attracting that. The law of subconscious mind, the way I also teach in the program is, I teach one law of subconscious mind in every session. And the first law is, you attract what you think, imagine, and feel. And when we are not forgiving someone, we are continuously thinking of hurt, we are thinking of pain, we are thinking of injustice, and unknowingly we are attracting more of it.
You're talking about your program. What does that look like? And what made you want to get into this line of teaching?
Power of Your Mind is a 12-session program in mindfulness, in becoming aware of your own mind. Whenever we go through any challenging situation in life, or even if we are not going through a challenging situation, we are just longing for some spirituality, we always turn to a self-help book. Often we find answers, but very often it also happens that we really don't know what to do with it. We love the concept of forgiveness, but how does it imply in my life? How do I forgive the person who has hurt me so much that I'm not able to stand up? And why do I need to forgive? And is it important to forgive? Those are the questions we don't find answers. We don't find. We just find just forgive. But why? That is something that I teach in my program. I break it down into small parts that what is your subconscious mind? How your subconscious mind attracts life, attracts things, attracts people, attracts forces, attracts circumstances. And then how you, as a human being, have the power to consciously change your thoughts and move them in the direction of your desire and allow them to come into your life. And to do this, I refer to power of subconscious mind. I refer to Think and Grow Rich. I refer to Many Lives, Many Masters. Eckhart Tolle I talk about. In each of these sessions, I give one book and ask them to read about it, which will give them into details. I talk about beliefs, autosuggestion, manifestation, the secret, the greatest secret, acceptance, all the books that I've learned, Tara, all this. I've used all the various sources, and like a teacher, I have combined them into simple 12 sessions. And after these 12 sessions, you have learned everything about your own inner self. And you are ready to be happy again.
That's interesting. You mentioned a bunch of authors. I've read a couple of those books myself. They're fantastic. Are there any other personal mentors of yours that you've had, or other authors that you could comment on, just to give people a good starting point if they want to chase some of this info?
Apart from these books, I also practice Buddhism, which is Nichiren Daishin in Buddhism. In this Buddhism, we chant a particular mantra, and the mantra is myoho renge. And we chant this mantra every day. And the idea is that this mantra is a cause, and you think of a new effect. I found this mantra and I found this form of life philosophy very powerful, because it was the first time that I heard that you can change your life because everything that you do is cause and effect. And it said that no matter what problem you're going through, no matter what difficulty you're going through, you can come out of it because you create new causes and hence you get new effects. So that is another very, very powerful thing. That is something that I strongly recommend to people who are, if they're going through any challenges, to read more about Buddhism, to read about, especially about Nichiren Daishin in Buddhism.
Is there anything that you'd like to leave the audience with, ways they can contact you or different ways to learn more?
I just want to tell everyone that no matter what you are going through, no matter how hard your life is, or no matter what difficulty you're going through, you can always come out of it. You can always live the beautiful life. You can always attract health, wealth, and happiness only if you become aware of the mind. And you can do it. And happiness is not the absence of problems. Happiness as being at peace with yourself, knowing you will come out of it. That hope is very important. And you can read more about my program on my website, powerofyourmind.life.
Awesome. I'll put that information along with this interview. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Ty. Thank you so much.
Of course. It was a pleasure.